When Ghostship is used, three main things happen. It stuns and damages enemies at the crash location, but we all know that, it's visually very obvious. The less commonly understood aspects of the spell are the Admiral's Rum and Rum Hangover buffs that Ghostship applies that sometimes brings you right to the brink of death. So, how do these spells work exactly? The Admiral's Rum buff is applied for 10 seconds to any allied unit who comes within 450 range of the Ghostship while it's traveling. 450 range is a lot larger than what the ship actually is, which is about 150 units. This means the ship doesn't need to run directly through you to give you the buff. As long as you're in the area, you'll probably get it. The buff gives you 15% bonus movement speed, but that's not very interesting. The cooler part is that it delays 45% of damage taken. So for every source of damage you take, you'll only be taking 55% of its total, while the other 45% is applied later. The buff keeps track of all of the damages you took while Admiral's Rum was active, and evenly distributes it over a 10-second period every 1 second. So if Tinker used level 4 laser on me while I have Admiral's Rum active, only 55% of its total damage will be applied, which is 165. The remaining 45% of damage is applied every 1 second when Rum Hangover starts, which in this case is 13.5, but in this combat log it's rounded down to 13. Another example, this time Tinker and Timbersaw attack Kunkka while Admiral's Rum is active. Only 55% of the damage from laser is applied, and the same for Timberchain. Then, when Admiral's Rum ends, the delayed 45% of damage from each spell is applied every 1 second across the 10-second duration of Rum Hangover. The really cool thing is that the delayed damage is non-lethal, which means you cannot die from it. This is why you sometimes see people getting so close to death after a Ghostship is used. In this example, Kunkka loses a lot of health from the first half of delayed damage ticks, but once he gets low enough, he only loses as much health as he can spare without bringing him below 1 HP. So, with this newfound knowledge, how do we best use this in an actual game? Well, of course, it's a great teamfight ability, providing a large amount of AoE control with its stun and a decent amount of damage. But if you can use it in a way that ensures it passes by your teammates and grants them the buff, they'll be taking reduced damage from all sources. Of course, the damage ends up being applied later like we talked about, but getting that reduced damage up front can be a game changer in teamfights. Just remember that after the 10 seconds of the first buff, you'll start to receive that delayed damage over the next 10 seconds, so you might want to prepare for that by easing off the enemy a bit if you know you took a lot of damage during the first 10 seconds. As for playing against Kunkka and his Ghostship, you might want to consider holding off on any high damage abilities, as 45% of their damage won't be applied until later, which might give Kunkka and his team an opportunity to win the fight. We'll wrap up with a couple of side notes. How do the buffs work when multiple Ghostships are used? If you still have the first buff active, Admiral's Rum, the duration will simply be refreshed, meaning you have more time to take reduced damage. If you have the second buff active, Rum Hangover, then get the first buff applied again, they'll simply act independently of each other. So the new Admiral's Rum buff will end and get its own Rum Hangover buff that acts the same as normal. The visual indication showing the ship's crash location is only visible to allies, not enemies. But for some reason, if you're close enough to the edge of the map and use Ghostship in a way where it'll spawn off the map, it won't actually show for either team. It'll be invisible the whole way through. An actual Ghostship. This probably won't matter for 99% of Ghostships ever used, but one case it might actually matter is if you use it around Roche, since that's near the edge of the map. If you get close enough to the edge of the map, then send Ghostship into the pit, it won't be visible for anyone. I guess this is a sneaky little trick you can try out, and if you do, let me know how it went. Be sure to join my Discord server, where we're building an awesome community where you can chat about Dota and find people around your rank and region to play with. Also, I've been streaming more often. I mostly stream my ranked Immortal games where I play support, and try to make it an environment where people can learn from my successes and failures. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to check that out. Links for these things in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I hope you learned something new with me.